Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. Two fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrating the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! Yo, 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 yo! Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, a pro wrestling podcast about pro wrestling. I'm Blade Daly, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my ace, my Joshi G, the greatest Canadian pro wrestling podcaster in the history of pro wrestling podcasts. Some have said, including myself, every single week, she's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Joshi G, how are you, friend?
I'm feeling pretty tired this week, friendo, but I'm good. I'm enjoying the wrestling.
Do you think maybe you're coming down a little bit from last week?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did feel a little bit under the weather, but I am starting to feel better today. Thank you, Blade. And, you know, I had a really great discussion with Muppet Monet about climate change.
Oh, okay. What are her thoughts about climate change?
She said that we got to make some changes, very important changes, and I agree with her. You know, we really need to stop polluting the earth, so to speak. And I say we spoke for about 3 hours.
Wow.
Had some gin and tonic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's
so
really
not
cool.
mimosas this time. It was a different thing.
You know, you have to change it up. Always the same kind of cocktail gets a little bit boring, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, she wanted to take some hallucinogens.
Oh, wow, really?
And
Wow.
I told her that wasn't going to happen. You know,
Okay.
she wanted this kind of, I guess, spiritual awakening. You know, I didn't want to do that, so I had to tell her, listen, Muppet Monet, if you want to do that on your own time, I don't have a problem with that. But as your best friend, as your guardian, I need to ensure that I'm sober and take good care of you. I mean, I did have a gin and tonic, but I wasn't plastered or anything like that.
Right. You were having an intellectual conversation about climate change.
Yeah.
Which is helping her, you know, as well. And you're both growing together as people.
We're both growing together. We hang out every weekend. Been having a good time, you know? I'm just really happy.
You guys going to be hanging out this weekend? Because she's going to be in Australia, I think.
Yeah, this weekend might be a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll get here on Sunday night or something. I'm not sure. And we could talk about Australia, talk about the kangaroos and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. I'll definitely let you know. I always have an update about my adventures with Muppet Monet, so you'll hear about it next week, Blade.
Well, that's great. And, you know, speaking of hallucinogens, I thought I might be on a hallucinogen because I woke up the other day, checked the results of New Beginning by New Japan, which was a stacked card that had a lot of cool shit going on, okay? And there were a lot of great matches, okay? There were. Yota Tsuji versus Gabe Kidd was an incredible match.
Oh, yeah.
Konosuke Takeshita versus Boltin Oleg.
Also very good.
Best match I've seen from Boltin Oleg so far. And a lot of other cool shit happened. But the thing that I thought I must be tripping balls, Hiroki Goto, Sexy Goto, as me and my friend call him, has won the IWGP World Championship for the first time at age 45. 45 years old, won the IWGP title, said he wants his first challenger to be Hiroshi Tanahashi, which, if you've seen the Ace try to walk recently, it's like, okay, you want a few successful defenses. I get it. But whatever. I can't say that I was thrilled about that result because I've been loving Zack Sabre Jr. as the world champion until I watched the match. and watched the celebration afterwards with his kids and stuff. It was awesome. It was super, super cool. I'm so glad that Goto has this moment for himself, and he's always had some of the coolest offense I've ever seen in wrestling, to be honest. And that old school samurai gear he used to wear, when I first started watching New Japan, him and Nakamura were like the ones that just blew my mind. I never understood why Goto wasn't higher up the card. But it's weird that they waited till he's 45, but he is the world champion. What were your thoughts?
Like you, I wasn't too thrilled about the result at first. But when I watched the show, I felt a lot better about it because the crowd was very invested in Goto. And they were so happy that he won the title. Moreover, he's been in NJPW for such a long time. Very loyal to NJPW, never won the IWGP World title. So it was a good moment for him. He's deserving. I don't think he's going to keep it for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I could see him dropping it back to Zach. But yeah, once you actually watch the show, it changes your perspective. And it was a great show, by the way. I thought there were some excellent matches on that show. My match of the night was definitely Suji, Gabe Kidd. Yeah. But I also loved Takesha's match and the main event. So I'd say I learned to accept it, and I'm fine with it now. Mm-hmm. So in terms of Tanahashi being his next opponent, that's fine. I would limit Tanahashi in the ring a little bit. He's definitely not in his prime anymore. And it's showing a lot.
He's beyond past his prime.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be polite,
He's past his prime.
He's past his prime.
Yeah.
So I think they need to use him a little bit less. I have a lot of love and respect for Tanahashi, but it's starting to be very apparent that he's struggling in the ring.
He is the greatest white meat babyface of all time. I believe it with my whole heart. I love Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But yeah, it's time to, he's retiring soon. So, this is his last year. Let's just put him in situations where he's set up to succeed. I don't know that fighting Goto for the title is exactly one of those situations, but we'll see. We'll see. I bet you that happens in Chicago. He's fighting Takeshita in Chicago.
Oh, that's right. Crazy. Yeah, it's true.
That's crazy.
Oh, my God.
That's wild. Well, you know what else is wild, Joshi?
Mercedes Moné?
Uh-huh. But also AEW, because it's on fucking fire right now. AEW's real, real good right now. Blowing me away each and every week, each show. I think losing Rampage was like gaining Collision in a lot of ways because the creative team seems so focused right now. This is how I was feeling around this, from like March to November of last year. They seem very focused. The shows are paced so well. There's like this perfect mix of like chaos, promos, and matches. I feel like we're learning more about these wrestlers. And, if you're a casual viewer, it's easier to follow the show than it's probably ever been. But at the same time, they're still having great matches and they're setting up big, big stuff. It's just very exciting to watch. To me right now, it kind of feels like a perfect mix of Nitro, 98 Raw, and New Japan to me. It's like if you put those things in a blender, that's what you get. That's what Dynamite is at this point. And, the big brawls, the way the stories are leading from one to the other, super, super good. How are you feeling about it?
I love it. This might be the best AEW has ever been. Mm-hmm. And if this lasts, holy crap. I know people are always going to be nostalgic about 2021. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong. There were some really great things that happened that year, but there were also things that didn't work. Mm-hmm. I bet if you'd rewatch those shows now, you'd be shaking your head and I mean
Of course you
generally, anyone in general would watch it and think, oh, I forgot about this. That wasn't too great. I actually think there isn't really anything that I dislike on the shows right now. I pretty much enjoy everything, and I agree with you, iBlade. It does feel a lot like WCW Nitro, Attitude Era, WWF, and NJPW. They're doing a terrific job. Not only is the wrestling top notch like always, but the stories have been amazing. So anyone that says that AEW doesn't have any stories right now, you're just pushing a narrative that isn't relevant anymore, my friends. So I'm just putting it out there, and that's it.
100%. 100%. And I would also say, there, just like you said, there's always going to be those nostalgic people. AEW, when it first started, was a lot more kind of like just straight up New Japan in America. And I think they maxed out how big the audience can grow, being just that.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people who were watching AEW in the beginning left after Brawl Out, or they left after Punk left, or they left after whatever. And so now they need to go hunt and find new people to watch the show. And I think they're doing that. I'm absolutely loving it. And I AEW is as good as it's ever been right now. And we're going to get to why that is throughout this episode. We are not going to do a straight up rundown of each show. We are just going to talk about kind of the big bullet points from AEW that we are particularly interested in right now. And we're going to do that right when we come back.
So, iBlade, guess what we're going to talk about now?
What are we going to talk about now, Joshi?
I'm going to tell you. We're going to talk about the ladies in AEW.
Hey, ladies. Hey.
If you've been watching AEW regularly the past few weeks, the women have been featured on both Dynamite and Collision a lot more. We're seeing a lot more stories. We're getting 2 matches on Collision more regularly again. And on Dynamite, yes, we do still get 1 match, but it tends to last quite a bit, so I can't really complain, and at least we're still getting promos, segments, and whatnot. So, as you all recall, a few weeks ago, we discussed MJF and Jeff Jarrett's promos in the ring, which we weren't particularly fond of because there was a lot of misogyny involved. We also discussed that the women weren't being featured enough. We were still getting the bare minimum. We weren't getting a variety of women on both shows. It seems like we start these discussions and then others jump in, which is excellent. This is how people listen to you, right? And because we've all been so vocal about wanting more women's wrestling in AEW, wanting less misogyny, Tony Khan has actually been listening to us and making some very significant changes. So I have to say, I applaud Tony Khan. Thank you so much for listening to us. However, we will give you crap if you revert back to the way things were done at the beginning of January. I'm just throwing it out there.
Right.
But honestly, it's just been really great to see on Dynamite. We saw so many women, Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, Thunder Rosa, Stylander, Willow. They were all featured on Dynamite.
Yep.
We got Marina Shafir, Harley Cameron was there, Mariah May as well. So there's definitely been a lot of improvement. What are your thoughts, iBlade?
Oh, so much. I it's not to say we started the conversation because, people were noticing the same things we were, right? But certainly after we did that episode, there was a lot of discussion created around that episode. It's one of our most listened to episodes ever. And I would say there's been an immediate response from AEW. And this is why it's good to criticize when AEW isn't hitting it out of the park, guys, is because they listen. And
They do.
that they don't take it personally and tell the fans to shut the fuck up. they listen, and they have been listening, and you've seen it on Collision. There was actually 2 women's matches on Dynamite this week. You got Megan Bain in a squash.
Yes,
Bain in a squash.
Right.
And then you got Statlander and Penelope, which was a fucking great match. And I think they got a solid 12, 15 minutes, something like that. But they had a very good match. And then this started this whole thing with Megan Bain and Chris Statlander. There's a thing with Megan Bain and Thunder Rosa. And what I didn't realize was the opponent of each of these women in both of those matches was Penelope Ford. So I'm wondering if Megan and Penelope have a thing going on. I'm stoked. I think Penelope Ford's crushing it, and she needs something to do. And put her with somebody like Megan Bain. Fuck yeah. I'm all about it.
Blade, real quick. Wasn't Penelope's match with Chris Statlander on Dynamite her best match since returning to AEW from her injury? I thought she looked, wow, like fantastic. I have never seen her look this good in the ring.
You can see her confidence is just out of this world right now, and it should be. Like, remember we were saying on the show months ago, before she came back, that it would be interesting to see her in the ring now, because honestly, I didn't know how she would hold up against the way the talent has increased, and it's just brought her up. It's brought her game even higher. She's doing a great job, and I couldn't be happier for her. She's crushing it. I love the how she's incorporating kind of her background with like gymnastics and stuff kind of into her character more, where she's doing that matrix bend, to avoid like Statlander swinging at her. And then she does that again and then hits her with a stunner. Like, that was dope. That was so cool. So very, very cool stuff. The AEW women's division's on fire, and there's some very particular things going on with it right now. So,
shall we start with Harley Cameron and Mercedes Moné?
Holy shit.
What a feud, eh? What a rivalry. It has been amazing. I did not expect it to be this good.
Me neither. Harley is got this organic thing going on with the crowd right now, where they have just bought into her in a huge way, and she's just getting over. I mean, she's just getting all the way fucking over. And the Muppet Monet stuff, and the your best friend,
yes, absolutely.
Who 2 weeks old and already a major superstar, made an appearance on Collision. Harley doing that concert with her out of tune guitar that probably went out of tune like 1 second before she strummed it. Does that segment with Mercedes. It's an absolutely brilliant segment. I love the mix of humor and then Harley showing how talented she is at everything, and then being like serious, doing serious babyface stuff. Joshi.
That segment was amazing. It was so funny.
Yes. Oh my God.
But yes, it did get pretty serious. The fans loved it. If you look at the quarterly ratings from Collision, you'll see that Harley Cameron's halftime show pulled in a lot of viewers, and that doesn't normally happen. Usually you lose viewers throughout the show, but that was not the case with her.
Especially on a Saturday night.
Exactly, right? I also, give my best friend Muppet Monet a lot of credit. She is clearly a draw, and I would like to see her wrestle eventually. So I'm hoping we get a match. Like don't you think Mercedes Moné versus Muppet Monet would be?
Or what about Muppet Monet versus Muppet Cameron?
No.
Oh, you want to see Muppet Monet literally wrestle Mercedes?
Yeah. Don't you want to see that? Wouldn't that be the greatest match of all time?
Sure. The other thing, though, is you got to give it to Mercedes. She is absolutely crushing the game right now.
Oh,
this is the perfect opponent for somebody like Harley, who can be a little silly. She will play into it a little bit, and then she'll turn it back serious again right when it needs to get serious. Mercedes is playing into all the things people hate about her. She is playing into all the things her haters say about her in the smartest, coolest way. This lady, what a fantastic job she's doing building anticipation for this match with Harley. These two are perfect opponents.
I completely agree with you. And whatever the outcome is tomorrow at Grand Slam, just keep featuring Harley as much as possible on television. Clearly, the audience responds very well to her.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I would like to see Muppet Monet on television regularly as well. I thought she did an excellent job on Dynamite in that kind of music video.
Okay. Did they not convince you that was Mercedes at the very beginning of
first,
it? Yes. I totally thought it was going to be her.
Me too.
And when it was revealed to be Muppet Monet, I lost my shit. I was laughing so hard by myself in my apartment. The animals were scared. Like, I was cackling like a fucking madman. That shit was so funny.
It was hilarious.
Oh my God. And like her out of the car and stuff. Like that was just the best. And then Harley cuts this fucking excellent promo.
Yeah.
She's
really
like,
did.
hold on. She does this awesome rap. And then she's like,
really
wait a
good
minute.
rap. Yeah.
You know, she rapped in QTV as well.
Yeah.
And I remember that was towards my very last days on Twitter. And I remember people saying, this girl doesn't know how to rap. She sucks, blah, blah, blah,
what?
blah, blah.
She was good.
I thought she was good then. I'm like, come on,
Yeah, me
that
too.
is not easy to do. But
come on, man. These people are nuts.
It's wild to see some of those same people being like, she's amazing. But whatever.
Yeah. She was my favorite part of that TV, whatever the hell it was called. I mean, she stood out a lot.
Footage.
Yeah, she was hilarious.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next rivalry, iBlade, is there anything you would like me to say to Muppet Monet or?
Could you tell her to just be kind to my friend Joshi G?
Okay.
And not to encourage Joshi to do hallucinogens because things are already kind of out of hand?
I'm not doing hallucinogens.
No, just maybe like don't bring it up again. What if you had a weak moment is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Oh, so I'm weak now.
No,
all right. Well, you know, I mean,
drugs are not about weakness. Okay.
This is just,
Drugs are not about weakness. I'm just saying you're kind of like a human hallucinogen as it is. Like just normal old Joshi G.
I look like a mushroom. All right.
I didn't say you look like a mushroom. That is not. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry, iBlade. Just give me 1 second, please. Oh man. Jeez, what the hell? Oh my God, I feel so weird. Jeez. Sorry, just give me 1 moment. Hold on, iBlade. I'll be there in just a moment. Just a moment, please. Would you just shut up? God, just leave me alone. Just get out of here. I'm trying to do the podcast with iBlade. Would you get out of here? I mean, I don't care about this Muppet stuff. Hey, iBlade. Joshi G's here. What's going on?
What?
What? What do you mean?
Not this shitting. What were you?
What's up?
You've been doing the podcast with me, right? Because we're pretty deep in now.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit confused at the moment.
What have you been doing?
Well, I was telling this freaking person to let me do the podcast, and they just kind of, joined and started talking about a bunch of things and didn't let me talk. And so we kind of got into this inner battle, and now I'm here. I don't know what happened. I'm very confused. I'm distorted. But, I want to do this with you, my friend. So let's do this. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. It's just
Joshi
like
J told me you were taking like a medication after last
medication. Week. I'm not taking any drugs. iBlade.
That's quite a jump. Okay, quite a jump.
Okay, you know what? I'll talk to a psychologist soon. Okay.
Okay. All right. Don't talk to the one Brandy talked to with the Nightmare Collective thing.
that one, she seemed pretty nice.
But I don't think it worked.
Anyway, if this other version of me that was on the show kept going on and on about Muppet Monet, well, I can't say I apologize.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're not really sorry. I mean, you love.
I mean, you know, I can't control what she does. So, but let's focus on the podcast.
Okay, yeah. Let's focus on the podcast.
I think this is my bit now. Okay, so I believe you were discussing Harley Cameron, Mariah May. What am I saying? Harley Cameron, Mercedes Moné with Joshi Muppet or whatever. But now that I'm here, I want to discuss Toni Storm, Mariah May. So,
okay, all right.
How amazing has this rivalry been, Blade? Seriously, it's been so perfect.
Yeah.
They're both killing it.
Yeah, you get two geniuses together. Because Mariah May is, you know, I saw Joshi J post about this, you know, the promo that she cut on Dynamite.
What did he do now?
It's one of the best promos of the year.
Yeah,
this promo really that she did, this backstage promo where she's kind of unraveling and Tony's like clearly in her head now and she's kind of losing it.
Yes.
It's so good. It's just, this is so fantastic. It's either this story or Swerve and Hangman is the best story ever told in AEW. It might be this one. But that's, you know, if they get Swerve and Hanger back together again, who knows? But like, it's incredible. It's just incredible storytelling. And on Collision, they did this awesome fucking angle. Joshi, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So Mariah wrestled a jobber, essentially.
Yeah.
And she had blonde hair like Toni Storm and the same style. And of course, Mariah, I don't know why I keep saying Mercedes. This must be that Joshi G puppet version of me. So anyway, Mariah, of course, beat her pretty quickly. And then she opened her, it was a huge like bag. And she opened it and took some stuff out. And there was like a cloak, black cloak type of thing. And
like what Toni
red
wears.
Lipstick. Yeah. And was there anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
That was about it. That was
like
about
a big black, like, I don't like golf bag, whatever the heck you want to call it. Yeah. And then Luther comes out and he gives Mariah something. She opens it and it's the shoe that she used, the heel, so that she, as in Mariah, used to beat the heck out of Toni back
one of the greatest
in
heel turns of all time.
July. Yeah. So that was really cool. So she's just looking at that heel.
Yep.
Like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to beat this jobber up with it, right? And she's approaching her and she's about to beat her up. And then this jobber turns out to be Timeless Toni Storm. So while Mariah was dealing with Luther, Timeless Toni Storm and the jobber changed places, yes. And you just see Toni Storm with that devious smile.
It was
so funny.
So perfectly done.
It was so perfectly done.
They don't miss with this story. They just don't miss. Like,
they really don't.
This has been longer than a year. They've been telling it now.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's been longer than a year.
And that is incredible. It's fantastic. And like, Mariah's massively over. She's been the women's world champion for 6-7 months now. And
since August, right? So
yeah, since August, all in. So
a good 6 months, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great first title reign.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Toni is just on fire. Did you get a chance to watch her close up with Renee Paquette?
Only some of it, unfortunately, but I will watch it all. Absolutely.
It's so good. Maybe the funniest part of it is in the very beginning. Toni walks into the theater and it looks like a porno theater, kind of.
Oh, no.
And Toni goes, "Are you able to masturbate in here?"
I did see that. I did see that part. Oh my God, she's so funny.
She kills me, man.
But you know, I Blade, like you said before, Mariah's promo from Dynamite was excellent. When she said, "I do love you. I love you so much that it's going to be a mercy killing at Grand Slam in Australia," I was like, oh man. So Mariah's just been, oh my God, what a great signing. Who would have thought she would end up being this successful so quickly? Good for her.
I had no idea she was this good of a promo.
Neither did I. I had no idea.
I had seen her in Stardom, and I was a big fan. I mean, I thought she was obviously beautiful. Actually, the first time I ever saw Mariah May was I saw her on Twitter, and she would just post like pictures of herself, and I was like, holy shit, who the fuck is that? And then I saw her in Stardom and realized she was a really good wrestler. And then I was watching a Stardom show where she had to come out and do commentary kind of at the last minute to fill in for somebody.
Yes.
And she was really good at commentary, but it was like she was still pretty like dry, you know. She didn't have a character really. She was just like, she was very good, but you know, I was impressed with her still. But seeing her do what she's doing now, like this is one of the greatest. I mean, you know, Toni says role of a lifetime, but like both of these two are given the performances of a lifetime.
That's both rule. Oh man,
amazing. And I would also say, you know, you and I had talked about this. The humor is back in AEW, but it's mostly with the women. And the women are really getting a chance to be fun and funny and over the top, and it's landing big time.
The women in AEW have a lot of personality, a lot of charisma.
Oh, yeah.
They really do. And sometimes you might not see it right away, but give them the time. And I'm telling you, most of these women can end up being very, very great characters.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. We have a lot more characters to talk about, actually, Joshi. And we're
Let's do this.
In just a sec. Well, aside from the incredible women in AEW, there's some incredible other stuff going on in AEW, one of which is finally this week, after weeks of near encounters, kind of random run-ins, you know, bumping into each other almost, Hangman and MJF exploded into a proper blood feud. These guys have had one match against each other 5 years ago when MJF first won the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And they had an encounter at the first Double or Nothing, in fact. Hangman eliminated MJF to win the Battle Royal that gave him the title shot at Chris Jericho. And so at All Out that year. So these guys have been kind of connected, but they've never really had anything to fight over. So Max Caster issues he's been issuing his open challenge, the best wrestler alive. And I just side note, Max Caster is crushing it right now. He is giving me kind of like, he reminds me of like the Honky Tonk Man or somebody like that, where you could send them out and whether they even wrestle or not doesn't even matter. They'll just be super entertaining. So Hangman comes out as his open challenge opponent. Max runs into the crowd and grabs somebody's sign and is telling them to shut up. And he's like, he took the shirt out of somebody's hand and he put it over himself so that he would try to blend into the crowd. Hangman goes, gets him, throws him in the ring, kicks his ass, pins him. Later, MJF is giving a promo backstage, and Hangman interrupts him and he says, "Get out of here." They have an unfriendly exchange after that. Later on, they're in Austin. Austin's own Dustin Rhodes is wrestling MJF. MJF brutalizes Dustin. Great match, by the way. Really good match. Dustin looked fantastic. This guy's killing it. 55 years old.
Dustin Man. Better than Jarrett. Sorry.
Oh, my God. Ahead. Dustin better than a lot of the young guys.
Yeah.
He's really good. Jesus. Had a great back and forth. Dustin passes out in a crossface, and Max keeps the crossface on after the bell. Then he continues to assault Dustin after the bell when Hangman Page runs down to the ring. Hangman, by the way, in the match with Max Caster earlier, was doing very obvious babyface stuff, like telling the crowd, "Come on, get up, get up." You know, like he's playing babyface again, and I couldn't be happier because now we have unhinged Hanger who loves us again.
Yay!
We love Hanger. I never stopped loving Hanger.
Me neither.
But anyway, these two end up having an insane brawl that has a bunch of false starts and a bunch of restarts. They end up brawling all the way up to the top. What I loved about it is that MJF didn't run away or act like a coward. Mm-hmm. He wants to kill Hangman as much as Hangman wants to kill him. This was awesome. This is the kind of gravity that anything one of these guys is doing should have. Joshi, what do you think?
What a relief. Thank goodness this is what we're getting. I'm so happy that they moved past MJF, Jeff Jarrett, because I wasn't feeling it at all.
No.
And now obviously they've moved on past MJF, Dustin, and Hangman, Max Caster. So this is the perfect feud. It not only is Hangman being a babyface so awesome, but also we're getting the MJF that I want.
Yes.
When Hangman interrupted MJF and told him to get out of here, and of course MJF insulted him, and then Hangman told him, "It's been 5 years, you could do better than that." And then MJF got pretty serious and told him, "Oh, you're just sad about your friends, that they left you, and you just want this isn't who you really are," and etc., etc. I said, yes, this is what MJF needs to do. He doesn't need to resort to misogyny or calling everybody in the audience fat. It's like, be that kind of heel that, how can I put it, that knows how to hit you emotionally. That's what I love about MJF. And so I'm just so happy that we're getting him like this again, because you have no idea how many articles I've seen online saying that MJF has lost his touch, MJF is stagnant, MJF needs to do something different. So I am so glad that he's back to being the MJF that we love, and that he is in a feud with Hangman Adam Page, because it doesn't get any better than that. These two have been there from the beginning. We never really got a proper feud with those two, so it took 5 years, but man, we're here, and this is
God
freaking
damn it,
amazing.
we're here.
We're freaking here.
It's going to happen at Revolution, I think.
That's my impression. Yeah,
that's shaping up to be one hell of a show. There's only two matches that seem clear, and they're two banger matches. Jesus Christ.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think I totally agree with you. I think MJF is doing what MJF should be doing. He's back. You know, I said I kind of preferred that comic book villain MJF, who was like a douchebag who didn't realize he was a douchebag. And I think sometimes he tried to take the character in too dark of a direction. And I'm like, just be a narcissist who thinks your shit doesn't stink. Yeah. And you'll be golden. And that's what he's been doing. And I love it. I love it. I'm not saying it's because of me saying that. I'm saying it's just cool that it worked out that way. And I'm super happy seeing MJF in something big that feels new. This is all he needed. He is too good to be stale for too long, you know?
Agreed. I wasn't worried about it. They just had to do something quick. That's all.
Yeah. And they have. So here we are. Real quick, this doesn't need to be a huge thing, but hell, we're going to say, I got to give a big shout out. My boy Bandido is back. He is back. The crowd is chanting Bandido during his music now. He's muscled up big time. Like, he's like large. He's like quite a bit bigger than I've ever seen him. He looks fantastic. He looks like a genuine heavyweight. And, he has made the learning tree something I look forward to seeing, which is quite a lot for me to say. He and Brian Keith had such a great match on Collision. It was, in a collision that had a legit 5-star match with Fletcher and Briscoe.
Oh my God.
These guys still had one of the standout moments of that show. The duel thing that they did where they took 10 paces and they ran at each other and they both drop kicked each other. Yes. And then, of course, on Dynamite, Chris Jericho sees how cool that was. So he's got to do it too. And he calls out Bandido. They do a little 10 pace, it was really more like 7 paces. And they are about to run at each other, but the learning tree interferes for Jericho. They started group beat down on Bandido. The Outrunners come out, cut that off. Yeah, I like Bandido being paired with the Outrunners, by the way.
Me too.
And then Big Bill comes out to cash in the bounty on Bandido. And Powerhouse Hobbs comes out to beat that ass. And so
Powerhouse.
It ends up in the ring with Powerhouse Hobbs and Bandido. Like, what the fuck is happening? This is why I love AEW. This is what I want from AEW. Unpredictable pairings and matchups like this that I would never even think of. This roster's so deep, you could do an unlimited amount of these. But having Powerhouse and Bandido in the ring together, even if it never goes anywhere beyond that, I'm so down for that. That is so cool.
Oh my God, me too. The way they're using Bandido is satisfying me, let me say. You know? He's been used constantly the past few weeks. He's doing pretty big things right now. I loved his duel with Brian Keith.
Yeah.
The one with Jericho was fine, but the one with Brian Keith was better, let's be honest.
It was way better. Oh my God. And that match in general was just fantastic.
It was a great match. Yeah.
It was great to see Brian Keith being the bounty hunter. That was dope. Just great stuff. I'm such a mark for Bandido anyway.
Oh, me too.
But like this guy, I'm serious. He could be a world champion if he did it right. He really could.
Oh yeah. He's so charismatic and likable.
And it's like physical charisma, but this guy gets the crowd like not just behind him, like screaming for him every time he wrestles. Like, because he is just that good.
Honestly, Blade, I really want that spaghetti Western faction. I still want Bandido, Hangman Adam Page, and Brian Keith
to
give
it to us.
Yes, to get together and create this faction, because I just think it would be a lot of fun. And they could do a lot of really cool vignettes. It
would be so dope if the three of them were in a faction together. It's a dream faction. It's the dream faction of mine. We want it. Tony Khan, make it happen. You can make it happen, man.
Yeah.
But Unhinged Hangman leading those guys, come on.
Oh my God, that would be the best.
Come on. That would be the best. I mean, fuck, put Bandido and Keith in a tag team, that would be fantastic. Oh my God. And they had such great chemistry. I mean, just really good stuff.
I love that match. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last thing, last kind of story highlight that I wanted to pick up on. The Death Riders are finally picking up some steam. Week to week, there's more happening that's needed to happen for a long time. Pretty much since they did that, kind of behind the scenes thing with Renee a few weeks ago, they've slowly been starting to finally start ask the important questions. Is Wheeler Yuta brainwashed, or is he just complicit and he's just a part of it? This week on Dynamite, they did the thing where Jay White and Copeland ambushed Moxley and pushed Marina into a room and held the case outside the door, then closed the door and sawed the handcuff off and stole the case. And you thought for a minute you might actually see what's in the case, finally? Why hasn't that question been asked in all this time? It took him till a week ago to even start mentioning the case. But, I think the real problem with this story is mostly about pacing. They introduced it so long ago and then nothing happened for a really long time. And now stuff's happening and it feels good. I'm actually pretty excited for Cope and Moxley. I think it's very interesting that Cope originally came out with FTR at the beginning of the year. And they're not with him all of a sudden, and Jay White is.
Good point.
Somebody asked in a group chat, who do you think is most likely to turn on Cope first? Is it Jay White or FTR? And it was almost unanimous that people thought FTR would turn.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think FTR is going to turn and join the Death Riders. I really hope so. That would be such a good direction for them and Cope. You know, I said that before. It'd be good for the story. It'd be good for everything. So anyway, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing the Death Riders kind of come to life finally. Because everybody in that faction's way too good.
Exactly.
Also, one of the highlights from Dynamite, got to say, last thing, Pac ran into the ring and Cope had the big, bat with all the spikes in it. And Pac's face when he's like, hey, buddy, we don't gotta, like Pac actually smiled, which you never see. And so that was pretty cool. I like that.
It was just a matter of doing something.
Yeah.
You know, just picking, the story just really needed to pick up, like the pacing was too slow. But I have to say, lately it has been good. Adam Copeland and Jay White being involved is making a humongous difference. Mm-hmm. So I hope Jay White continues to be involved for a while. And you had mentioned FTR joining Death Riders, which I think should happen. Another person that I would really, really, really like to see join Death Riders is Jack Perry. Mm-hmm. So he hasn't been around for a while now. I'm not sure what he's up to, but I think he fits in really well with these guys. So maybe that will happen on, tomorrow at Grand Slam. Maybe we'll see Jack Perry and FTR join the Death Riders. I don't know. But those three, I think, are perfect fits. What do you think, iBlade?
I think they are. I think they are perfect fits. And I think that adding Jack and FTR is a big blow to AEW. It's a big development for the Death Riders. And I think it makes perfect sense why they would join. And, that's kind of all that really matters, is that it's a big deal and it will send a jolt through the company. And, I think it would probably more likely happen at Revolution.
Yeah, maybe
than in Australia. I think they're going to let Toni and Mariah kind of be the big moment at Grand Slam. Yeah. But I think that Brisbane Brawl is going to be awesome. And we might as well get on with it, Joshi, because we're going to very quickly make some predictions about what we think is going to happen. You might be listening to this after Grand Slam. We're taping this on the Friday before. This is coming out the day of Grand Slam. So, Joshi, are you ready to fucking make some predictions?
Yeah, let's do some Grand Slam predictions. So,
let's do it.
Let's start with Toni Storm versus Mariah May.
Mm-hmm.
Who's winning this match, iBlade?
Toni Storm.
Yeah. There's no way Toni's losing in her home country of Australia. That's not happening.
The biggest women's wrestler in AEW by far right now. All due respect to Mercedes and everybody else. Toni she's been the focus of the women's division for years now. It's her hometown. This is a celebration of AEW's first trip to Australia. Toni's from Australia. I mean, there's no other way for this to go. There's no other way.
I agree with you. I think Toni Storm wins, and it'll be interesting to see how they use Mariah May after this. If they decide there'll be a third match, or if they do their own thing for a while, we'll see.
Yeah.
So the next match is Mercedes versus Harley Cameron. iBlade?
I think Mercedes takes this. I think it's either by shenanigans or she just out wrestles her and beats her, but it's a very close match. And Mercedes is arrogant and underestimates Harley, and they will most definitely make you feel like Harley's about to win before she loses.
That's what I think too. I don't think Mercedes is losing this match. I just don't see both of the women's titles changing hands.
No.
I realistically.
Yeah, it's also like eating too much candy. It's like, look, we all love Harley, and she's,
of course, absolutely,
but she'll gain more by losing than she would by winning. I honestly believe that.
I completely agree. And look, I get it. Sometimes you want to put the belts on someone or a tag team, let's say, when they're hot, but On the other hand, if you do things too quickly, it might actually backfire. So you do have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah. I don't think you want Mercedes to take her first loss to Harley. I just don't.
No, I just don't see that happening. So I'm with you. I think Mercedes wins. Is she going to win clean? I don't know. I would like it if the Renegade Twins show up and Mercedes forms her faction. That would be really neat, but we'll see. Yeah.
Super dope.
So, next match, iBlade, we've got Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. Who wins this? What's your prediction?
This might be the hardest one to call.
It's a hard one. I agree with you.
Because I think it could go either way. I think there is a chance that Fletcher and Takeshita win because it's in Australia. Fletcher's Australian. There's the Don Callis family involvement. There's whatever random mystery person could get involved in the match. That could be a Callis family member. You never know. But I think I'm going to go with Ospreay and Kenny. I think that if they're a dream team, this is their first match together. I think they got to win it.
It's a hard one. You know what? I'm going to go with Fletcher Takeshita.
Okay. All right.
Just
I like it.
Because I feel like another Australian needs to win a match.
I think you could, and I think you could be totally right. I think you could be totally right. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win clean.
Oh, they won't. If they win, it won't be clean.
It's not going to be clean, and I do think that we'll get a rematch, and Kenny and Ospreay will win that one. Yeah. But I just feel like they have to give another Australian a win.
Yeah, no, and because I don't think any other Australians involved in this card are going to win. So
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're going to have them all lose and then have Toni win. So I think you could very well be right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next match, bitch. Buddy Matthews versus Kazuchika Okada.
It's Okada all day, baby.
Oh yeah, there's no way that Okada's losing this match.
This could be the match of the night, though. I think could be a really, really great match. They're kind of showing that Okada's like getting pissed now.
Yes,
and I want New Japan Okada in this match, and I think we're probably going to get it. I think this is going to be a fantastic match. I can't wait.
I completely agree with you. Now, this is our last match for Grand Slam. We've got Mox and Claudio Castagnoli versus Jay White and Adam Copeland. It was the Brisbane Brawl match. Yeah. So,
I think Jay White and Copeland are going to take this one.
Yes.
I think they're going to take it, and it's going to make Moxley look threatened by Copeland, and that's going to lead us to Revolution. But I do think that Jay White and Adam Copeland are going to take this one.
I agree. I think Jay White and Copeland are winning this match. Very quickly, I just want to say that there is going to be an ROH show tomorrow, either before Grand Slam or after Grand Slam. I don't have the details, but I'm really stoked for
good.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for Athena versus Alex Windsor. I think that's going to be an incredible match. Was not expecting that.
And I love that they're calling it Global Wars, which is,
Wars.
You know,
yeah.
This is like if WWE had bought WCW and actually treated it with respect. You know what I mean?
And we're getting Robbie Eagles on the show, so I'm super stoked for this. This is going to be great.
It's Robbie versus Commander, or I don't
think
remember.
It's Lee Moriarty.
Oh, it's Moriarty. Yeah, it's Moriarty.
Yeah, so that should be a great match.
And the Learning Tree versus Bandido and the Outrunners.
Yes, and MXM Collection versus Dustin and Sammy.
Hell yeah.
Am I missing anything? Or are those the four?
I think that's it.
It's going to be good. So
that's going to be so
excited.
good. Oh my God. So fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
So fun.
So, iBlade. As you know, last week we started our Black History Month wrestler for the week.
Yes.
So this week we've decided that our Black Wrestler of the Week is Mercedes Moné.
Yes.
Yes. So there's a lot to say about this woman.
Whether she's the boss, whether she's the CEO, she's in charge, baby.
Yes. So I've been a fan of Mercedes ever since probably like 2014, maybe a little bit earlier. I remember when I first saw her wrestle, I was actually curious about Charlotte Flair.
Right.
Because I thought, oh, okay, you know, Ric Flair's daughter, you know, she's wrestling now. Let's check her out. I'm curious. So the first women's match from NXT that I watched was Charlotte versus Natalya, and I thought Charlotte looked pretty good. And then I watched Fatal 4-Way match. It was Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks versus Bayley versus Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
And this was the first time I had ever seen Mercedes. Well, we know her as Mercedes now, but formerly known as Sasha Banks wrestle. And I remember both Joshi J and I, we just looked at the screen and thought, holy crap, this Sasha Banks chick is amazing. Like, she really stood out the most. And I became a huge fan immediately. It took just that one match, that one performance for me to say, whoa, this girl has got it. So I loved watching her wrestle. I felt like she, no matter who her opponent was, she always brought the best in her opponent. Whether that was Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey, whoever, you name it. She always made her opponents look really good in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hardly, you know, didn't really have any bad matches. I always found her very selfless. And so when she decided to leave, you know, WWE to walk away, I thought, man, it's about freaking time. Because when AEW started, I wanted her in AEW, but I knew it wasn't possible because
it seemed impossible.
She was signed, to very long
and it just
contract.
Seemed like she would be WWE for life, you know?
Yeah, it did. But, you know, because I remember in 2019, she went through a period where she wasn't very happy. And so I thought, oh my God, maybe she'll get her release. And I got all excited. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I wasn't watching WWE anymore when she went back. And then in 2022, when the rumors started that she wasn't in WWE anymore, she walked out. I thought, I don't know. Is this true? I don't know, you know? And when it was confirmed, I was one of the people that applauded her. I did not criticize her for that decision because even though I wasn't watching the product anymore, I had seen the way she was being used. Like, I saw the clips online. I saw what was going on with her. And even as when I was watching WWE regularly because of her, it didn't make any sense to me that she would never defend her title successfully. I remember one time, one of the things that pissed me off the most was she beat Alexa Bliss. I can't remember which pay-per-view it was, on a Sunday. The following day on Raw, Alexa gets a rematch and Sasha drops the belt. I was furious.
They did that with Charlotte too.
They did that with Charlotte. WrestleMania, I can't remember which one it was, but it was a triple threat match. It was Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha. Sasha comes out with Snoop Dogg. He's singing her freaking entrance music. We're all I remember we were at the bar watching the match and we're all thinking, Sasha's winning this. I mean, the way you're presenting her, she's winning. And of course she didn't. And this was just this annoying pattern that I kept seeing with her in WWE. They just wanted to use her to make her opponents look good. Didn't really want to push her, though. So, you know, after a while, I was just like, this is bullshit. Like, how many times did they tease Bayley, Sasha, and then they just dropped it for no reason? Just terrible booking. And so in 2022, when she walked away, and closer to the end of the year, it came out that she was going to NJPW and Stardom. I thought, holy crap. Okay. So not only is she going to Japan and we get to see her wrestle all these amazing Joshis, there's now this really, really strong possibility that she'll end up in AEW.
Right.
Sadly, she got injured in 2023, was out for a while. And then when All In happened in 2023, she was actually watching the show, and they showed her on screen, and I thought, oh my God.
That was pretty exciting.
She's interested, and you know what? This is becoming a big possibility now. This could be a reality. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you know, with Big Business last year in March, she showed up, and in my opinion, I think she has elevated the women's division so much. It's like everybody has stepped up.
Yes.
And you know, her matches with Stylander, some of the best women's matches I've ever seen. Her match with Hazuki, another incredible match.
Jesus Christ.
Banger after banger.
Incredible.
Yeah, and you know, Mercedes is one of those people that makes me proud, because she's very confident. She knows what she's worth. She speaks her mind. And I just admire that so much. I admire that of her, like, so much, because sometimes I feel as a woman, we're scared to, you know, like, say how we truly feel, because then we're considered like babies or bitchy or whatever. And she is called these, you know, terms, by the way. People do refer to her as like a crybaby and stuff like that. It's like, no, she's not. She knows that she's a great wrestler. She knows that she brings people in. She knows that people buy her merchandise. She knows her worth. And I just feel, you know, she started this kind of like, well, trend, so to speak, where you hear about these other female wrestlers, trying to negotiate for more and more and more money. Mm-hmm. And honestly, this whole thing about her being selfish, I do not agree with that at all.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I think she is very selfless. So
the same people who say free Phoenix, or, you know, free Ricky Starks, or all those same people, I guarantee you a bunch of them think they're the ones who call her Mercedes Hogan. They're the ones who say it was unprofessional what she did to leave the way she did. Here's how I knew she was justified. That night when she left, they buried Mercedes and Naomi live on air that night.
That same night, yeah.
They could have just as easily handled shit off camera, changed the match, which they did all the time anyway, and nobody would have even noticed. But they made a point to bury them both. And so, can you imagine being a woman of color working with Vince McMahon? I'm sorry. Like, this guy has a track record that with women and with people of color, okay? Mm-hmm. And another thing about Vince that's true undoubtedly, and this is about any wrestler, any gender. It's like he looks at somebody and he makes up their mind about what their ceiling is within 20 seconds, and you can never escape it, ever. And if he ever changes his mind about you, it's always in a bad way, and he buries you, okay? With Mercedes, he gave her the good hand kind of treatment where, yeah, you're good enough to win the world title, but not hold the world title. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're here to make Charlotte look good. You're here to elevate Alexa Bliss. You're here to, coincidentally, all white women. You are here to do these things. And Mercedes on the main roster never felt like the big deal she should have until her and Bianca main event at a WrestleMania, night one of a WrestleMania. And I did happen to see that match. It was a fantastic match. Bianca is a fantastic athlete, but let's not kid ourselves. Mercedes is a ring general. Mm-hmm. And she has used all of her time since she left WWE to elevate this art form that we all love so much globally. She has wrestled in Japan. She's going to be wrestling in the UK. Mm-hmm. She's wrestling in AEW. The women in AEW have never gotten more TV time than they're getting right now. She has given countless people their best match. She's like a combination of Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And Ric Flair, like Nature Boy Ric Flair, where she's like that champ that almost loses, but never quite does. And she pulls it out by the skin of her teeth somehow, like Flair. Mm-hmm. But she's like Kenny in the sense that she's innovative and there's been no one like her before. And she's like Danielson, where she gives everybody their best match. And so she's enough good can't be said about Mercedes. But you did such a great job kind of cataloging her career. She came on my radar in 2013 or 14. I had just started watching WWE again. I was very excited about NXT. And she was a jobber at that time when I first started watching. But I loved her look. I was just like, who is this girl who's kind of got this like early 90s rapper kind of gimmick going on, the boss thing. I liked it. And it took a few months, but she kind of started to, climb the ladder and get some notoriety on that show. When Charlotte left, it was kind of the Sasha Banks era in NXT, which coincidentally was maybe my favorite era of NXT. I loved it. And she got to show what a great worker she is. So a worker's worker, AEW is just the place to be for those people. And
yeah,
they have it all over the men's side. Now they have it in the women's side. They've got some of the best workers in the world. And I just can't wait to see what she does this year. Mercedes Moné is one of the legends. She's a legend. She's a straight up legend at this point. Her legacy is cemented. She could retire today, do nothing else, all-timer.
But please don't, Mercedes. Please don't retire today.
No, don't retire anytime soon.
I also just want to add something, iBlade, because I'm going to be very blunt here. Anyone that says Mercedes is not a good wrestler, I can't take you seriously.
That's ridiculous.
If you don't like her because her gimmick is not for you, I don't know, there's just something about her you don't like, fine. But please do not tell me that she isn't a good wrestler. That is just embarrassing.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's a very stupid comment to make. There are some wrestlers that are very good that I don't personally like, but I'm not going to say, oh my God, they're so terrible. Like, why would you do that? Don't crap on her wrestling skills because you're just embarrassing yourself.
To me, that's like you are watching with drunk goggles if you think she doesn't know how to wrestle. Like, you're Brian Alvarezing the situation. Please don't do that. Please don't do that to yourself. Okay, friends, don't Brian Alvarez yourself, okay? Well, Joshi, this has been one slam banger of an episode. We got Grand Slam in Australia tomorrow.
Woo.
If you haven't already, folks, go back and watch New Japan, New Beginning. And also, if you haven't, check out Brett Michelle's show, The Hard Way with Brett Michelle. I'm her feckless, ineffective co-host on that show. And go check out sickosclub.com. We have tons of great writing. Joshi herself wrote an amazing article, don't tell her I said it, on the website about women's wrestling. I put out something this week about how AEW is not good. It's great. And we've had some amazing contributor articles as well come out this week. There's all kinds of stuff going on over there. Go to sickosclub.com, give it up to the homies, and we will see you next week. We'll be having all kinds of shit to talk about. But until then, I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G.
Pro wrestling forever.